name is Clara Towson, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
I am Francisca George, and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Susan Leemans, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom. Yeah.
My name is Zainab Sammaz, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hey guys, my name is Sasha Vickery, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hi, my name is Lloyd Harris, and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Jan Faria, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Yes.
Take one. Well done.
Hi, my name is Jasmine Paolini, and I'm a friend of the show.
Wow, Jasmine, you got it in one time.
Ready? Play.
It's gonna be once more the producer just rambling about the fact that he has this unreal skill of knowing when people had a haircut. First of all, you saw me this morning. Second of all, I think the last time I had a haircut was literally 4 months ago. So there's obviously a big gap between how I look right now and how I looked this morning. So yeah, I mean, I don't care about your special skills. In case anybody hasn't noticed, I'm currently experiencing some severe post-match depression. Maybe someone in the chat can guess which match put me in that state. But if I'm going to be a bit, can I say this? No, I can't say this word. But if I'm going to be a bit, let's say, I don't know, irritated during the stream, at least at first, forgive me for that. Anyway, we're gonna talk about one of the most boring weeks of ATP tennis ever. Because last year Alcaraz and Sinner played Beijing, and it was a great event. There was a fantastic final, and Tokyo was also phenomenal because you had Arthur Fils with this crazy run, so many ridiculous matches he should have won in 2 sets or in 2 hours, and yet he was winning them in 3 hours, and was like hobbling. Anyway, we didn't get any of that really, and I can't say it was the worst week of ATP tennis ever. But we did kind of get the expected outcomes in the end, and tennis didn't really, let's say, gain much from the fact that Alcaraz and Sinner were playing different events. Anyway, I'm just talking some absolute BS right now. Yeah, I mean, Vansh, let's just start with that. We did ATP Weekly last week, and we were basically thinking, if somebody is going to lose, maybe it's Alcaraz, simply because the number 2 seed is better in that event, because the conditions maybe aren't as suitable for him as they would have been in Beijing. But in the end, we actually did not get either of these two losing, and expected outcomes happened.
Yeah, to be honest, I was curious to see how it would go, whether they would both win the title in the same week, let's say do the double, the Sinner Alcaraz double. They did indeed do it without that much jeopardy or threat, really. Alcaraz did have that one moment, in like the third set against Ruud, where he saved those couple of break points. But aside from that, there was really no other moment or time where he really thought it wasn't going to be on. That wasn't always the case, though. I remember, like in 2024 in the grass court season, you had Alcaraz losing to Draper, and then Sinner wins Halle. This year, you had Bublik beating Sinner, and Alcaraz wins Queens. So this is the first time, and I assume this is going to happen. There's not going to be that many opportunities to get these kind of like doubles. They're mostly going to be playing the same events. But, these 500 weeks, I guess, it just kind of showed, again, like they're just playing a different sport to the others. And they are indeed number 1 and 2. And the narratives and everything were really about them. And, in Beijing, I don't even know if Sinner was like the main story. Like there were, is it really is it the fact that Medvedev made the semis, or that Tien, made his first ATP final? Like maybe those are even like bigger stories than this. I guess maybe there was that intrigue of like, oh, is Sinner going to experiment a little bit more with his game now that, a post US Open final with the comments he made, and, will we see that? Like, will we see him kind of, maybe will the serve look different or stuff like that? I think people were kind of watching out for that. But as far as like main narratives go, no, like it was really, are these two going to win? And they did indeed win.
Yeah, we'll be talking about all of that you mentioned, of course. Yeah, I think it's obvious that like thousands and slams, they're going to be playing the same events. 250s, they're just not playing them at all. So you only have these 500 weeks, really. And this might actually happen a few times because like most events aren't rich enough to get both of them on board. Like literally, it's just going to be a split, right, between Beijing and Tokyo. It's massive appearance fees for both of them. that are required, or maybe you have like Vienna and Basel, and then Alcaraz isn't playing that. Sinner is, or we'll see if he does, depending on how the rest of the season goes. What is the poll, by the way? Sport and politics. I voted no, but I am 60-40 on it. I don't know what the poll is, but we will probably see it on the screen in a moment. Oh, it's Alcaraz Sinner dominance. Boring. I mean, I wouldn't vote yes or no, to be fair. I think there are, two parts of it that are boring, but at the same time, it's still developing the sport. But yeah, you also have so you have the potential for events for occurrences like this in 500 weeks, especially as basically both events will be fighting each other to get at least one of these players on board, and probably maybe upping the stakes as well, and just saying we're going to Nurlan, Jesus Christ. I mean, just to be clear, Nurlan, I have hair right now. I just have a little less of it. So I don't know if your comment is related to the state that I was in at this morning, or if this is related to me right now. Anyway, I thankfully like myself in all sorts of capacities. Anyway, I guess my mood is already better. But yeah, let's just kind of dive right into it. You mentioned maybe let's start with Beijing. There are probably a few more bigger stories there because of guys like Medvedev or Tien. But of course, we will just start talking about the champion. So Yannick Sinner. You said something about like experimenting with his game and everything. Did we see that? Did we see anything new in Yannick's display this week? I mean, it wasn't that pretty, right? Like there were like for Sinner standards, there was that second set with Atman where they're like breaking each other to love 4 games in a row, and he also lost a set to Alex de Minaur, which is incredibly rare.
Yeah, it is. I've sort of been taking that rivalry and matchup for granted, but actually Alex de Minaur, he did like hang with him, and I did remember that actually they did play that Rotterdam final in 2024 in more slower hardcourt conditions.
Probably the best match Alex played against him, right?
Yeah, and I still think it might be like the best, but this was number 2, and it was right behind it, and you saw de Minaur was like really hard to hit through actually in the slower conditions, and he was just able to stay with Yannick a little bit more, but ultimately, Sinner in the end just had a bit too much in the final set, but it was there were some interesting moments, like Morozhan served for the second set against him, that was another one. So there were moments like that. The final and the first round, not so much, but the matches in between, there was some of that. I think people were looking out for the serve. I mean, his first serve percentage was all above 60%. Like for every match that he played, 4 out of 5, I think he was above his season average. So that's just that I think people will point to. Obviously, it all also depends on who you're playing and the quality of the returner, and the conditions, and how free is he to go for it. Obviously, and in the matches against Alcaraz, it's going to be a different story. But the question is, can he experiment a little bit more? We saw him occasionally. Like the thing is, we didn't see any massive change. He was still playing his usual style. It's just when he could afford to, maybe he was throwing in a little more slices. Maybe he was coming forward a bit more. The second set against Atman, he was slicing a bit more, I think. But apart from that, it wasn't anything like drastic. It wasn't like he all of a sudden became a, he's not going to all of a sudden start playing like Feliciano Lopez on the backhand wing. Like he's gonna just mix it in when he knows he can, and he has I guess the first couple of rounds he's gonna use that, just knowing because he's gonna pretty much beat everyone that he plays. So I think he could afford to, and also just display his usual dominance. And at the end, there wasn't really much to the final either. So.
Yes, Skyler, yes. Mats Rosenkrantz won. I'm a bit surprised this question is here, but fair enough. He actually had 2 match points against Nicolas Mejia and didn't convert them. I mean, I don't think there was any revolution in Yannick's game, but the serving seemed very good throughout, or at least, in the most important matches. The final, especially, that's such a major, gap already between him and Lerner. The fact that he was able to get like double-digit aces in such a short match as well, but barely over an hour, definitely made a big difference in terms of just like allowing him to stay comfortably ahead. I think when we have lopsided records like the Minor against Sinner, but anyone really, I think something we very often say is that like it's obvious if they play 20 times, one of the matches, like at least the player that is losing in the head-to-head, they're going to win at some point, And with Sinner and the Minor, we've kind of got into a spot where maybe actually it won't happen. Like, they've played 11 times already, and he's won 2 sets. It's not unrealistic for that to happen right now. 20 matches between them. It's actually looking pretty real that Alex might not beat Yannick. I don't know. What sort of court tournament do you think he would have the best chance at? Like if Alex de Minaur is supposed to play Yannick Sinner tomorrow, which court would you put this on in order to have the best possible chance at the upset?
To be honest, like the 2-3 matches that come to mind are this one, Rotterdam, and I don't know where did he get that set? Was it like Sofia, maybe 2020? But like
yeah, but it's like super back in the day,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Still
it's kind
a
of
slow
irrelevant,
indoor court,
but-
sure, yeah.
So maybe slow indoor court with Sinner being really off, like possibly, because like I just like they played on faster surfaces before. It hasn't benefited Alex at all. And
The producer wants grass, clearly shouting out free events.
maybe
on that
Hala,
surface.
but I don't know. I don't think there is one. Like it is kind of in that Nadal Gasquet vein for me in terms of matchups. Like there is just no good time or venue really. It has to be best of 3. It definitely won't be a major. So that's pretty much out. I don't see it being in the ATP finals, even though that is already a really quick court. Even Hala, like I don't quite see it. Like Bublik is a very different type of player to de Minaur. So I don't know, maybe a slow indoor court.
Yeah, it's tough to find an
It's
answer. Like
tough.
when I was asking you this question, I didn't really have an answer in mind.
Yeah,
I was
I
just
don't have
hoping you
one.
were gonna say something interesting. Yeah, I mean, I honestly don't know. I just think it's very funny that probably if you like went back through the entire history of talking tennis, you'd find me saying something like that. I think that when they played like 5 or 6 times, and I don't know, and I said that probably if they play 20 times, Alex is gonna win one. Or more probably even than one. At this point, yeah, I can't really be convinced, even if this was actually one of the closest matches they had. And it's not because it was particularly close. The third set obviously was a bit of a landslide. But yeah, that's basically where the bar is in that matchup. And
And
I
then
would probably
the
side with
first
that.
time that they played each other in 2019, like that was a match that you would have been like, okay, Alex is like the higher ranked player. Like he is supposed to
He
win
was the
this event.
favorite
He
at the
was
time
supposed
for
to-
sure, yeah. He
and
was
he
definitely
just,
the
like,
favorite.
Like that final was not even close. And Sinner was, 18 years old at the time. So that's
Well, I
when you
mean, to
just
be
knew like
fair,
this is
Alex was also pretty young. This was the next gen finals after all. So.
Alex. Yeah, a couple years older. But like it was a very early stage Sinner, and the fact that
Yes.
it already wasn't competitive was kind of
He was
ominous.
the last player to be he was actually a wild card even in the tournament, wasn't he? Or like he was the last direct acceptance or something like that. Anyway, yeah, definitely Alex was the favorite at the time at the next gen finals, and it was like straight up murder.
Yeah, I remember people being like, "Oh, this will be a good test for Sinner to see where he's at," Like that's what people were saying going into it, and then
Yes,
see like what happened.
absolutely, yeah. And he just won Ortisei, Ortisei challenger mention. Anyway, yeah, I mean, in terms of the next gen, it's always a bit controversial whether we should count these matches or not. They are counted in the head-to-head. I don't know. I think it's fine. They don't count though for the 5-set records. For the
Okay, that's good.
For the ATP. Like in ATP stats, you're not gonna find, I don't know, like a comeback from 2 sets down or best of 5 match. You're not gonna find matches from the next gen finals. They're not counted because of the different format. I mean, it definitely shouldn't change. I think it's part of the, innovative, whatever approach to the tournament, and it's testing something that will probably be well, implemented in the future. I just don't know how near that future is. Anyway, yeah, Yannick Sinner, not really a revolution to his game, but he was serving very well throughout. Lost a couple of sets here or there. Wasn't like the most consistent standard we've ever seen from Yannick, but still got the title. And the title he did get over Lerner Tien in the final. Of course, your Californian buddy, somebody you've been hyping up quite a lot.
Yep.
Somebody who this week, well, I mean, got a couple of big wins. They were both via retirement. It's not like they were Felix Auger-Aliassime Madrid. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I just wonder where you are right now with Lerner. Is he just destined for that kind of top 30-ish career that some other American you like has? Or is there something more? You know, is a run like this, also considering the final and how that looked, is a run like this enough to make you think that Lerner is, I don't know, taking the next step soon? Or is it just fine to right now look at his year as a, he's stabilized at this age. That's a great achievement, but also see the potential lack of room to grow.
Yeah, interestingly, he's got that really good record against top 10 guys this year, like 5-3 or something, and 5-4 overall, 5-3 this year. So apart from Sinner and Alcaraz, no one really else has that kind of record. So he is being disruptive in his first year on tour against some of these top players with obviously, his baseline game and how physical and nutritional he makes every single match, and how hard it's like to hit through that defense. And the part that gives me the pause the most for his potential is the serve. You look at the stats in the final, 10 aces for Yannick, 0 for Lerner, 6 double faults for Lerner, and he has like a higher double fault rate for a guy who doesn't really like go after his serve a ton. So that part is concerning because you see the guys with the most double fault rate, it's like Pechi Pericard, Bublik, like the big servers. Like those are the guys who go for it, but they also hit a lot of aces. Whereas Lerner, for him right now, it's the serve kind of doesn't really do anything. And it's like even in this match against Sinner, he won 23 points from the baseline, right? Sinner won 25. So not like this massive gap in terms of their baseline prowess. I mean, there is, like, obviously in terms of their ball striking and all that, Sinner is just way better. But, Lerner was able to kind of hang in. It's just that the serve did nothing for him. And I guess that's the area where you're just kind of like, oh, can he actually like improve in terms of, I know he's like a lefty and, he can, he can offset it in a certain way, but it's just
there were definitely points when he like gets Sinner very wide to his backhand and then just capitalizes with a +1. I don't think that these are going to like shine in the stats, right, as aces, as serve winners, but that they're still there.
Yeah, but he doesn't have like the easy way to win points quickly, like the way.
Yeah, but that's not only the serve, right? That's also like his entire game. Like, even if he has a better serve, does he convert the point?
I mean, maybe, but maybe he can get his big forehand into play earlier. Like, maybe he can play a little more first strike.
He's
like, right now,
he
just doesn't really, like what he does do on the forehand really well is he gets you stretched wide. Like, he has the angles. He can open up space for himself. Like, he can't really. That's the one shot he can like actually hurt you with, right? Like, there isn't. Otherwise, what else are you really sort of relying on? Just kind of playing long rallies for days end and making it super physical and just making
that's what he's doing. I just don't know if with a better serve he'd actually still like, I don't know, convert these points. Like, obviously it would raise his game a little bit, but he has the right, let's say, balance of being weaker on serve but better on return than the other players.
Yeah, he does have that, but I just wonder, like, he needs like that point ending weapon, and if you can't find it with the serve, then you're just relying on, I don't know, being like that mix of Cameron Norrie and Daniil Medvedev, I guess, and just like sort of like relying on physicality, and like that's your main asset. And look, it's working. It's getting him these wins. He's crafty with it. Like he's putting himself in these situations where like Medvedev is physically wilting, and Musetti already has played a long swing so far, but like he's making guys sort of having to beat him and finish points like against him. Like, you have to have ways of finishing points, like coming forward, playing creatively with drop shots and stuff, because he's just going to extend these matches. He's going to make them a track meet, and that's what he's really good at. And he's just He's good at putting these balls in awkward spots, and he can use the slice as well on the backhand and bring guys in and pass them. Like he's got options. I feel like on the forehand that can do a little bit of offense when you least expect it. Like because you're stuck in this probing pattern with him where you're like, okay, trade. And then out of nowhere you kind of find yourself stretched and you're having to do a lot of running. So he gets your mind working in ways that'll make the opponent miss. And I think that's like his trademark. But then, you play a guy like Sinner, like he's just going to be so rushed and so like, I didn't even watch a whole chunk of this final, but I can tell you exactly what happened because it's just like that's where the class gap is right now. But
yeah, I did the watch along for the final, and I believe at the start of it, I said, well, it's probably going to be like 6-6-2 in 75 minutes. So I gave Ledner a bit too much time, but the scoreline was exactly like expected.
Yeah,
so yeah, I see that. I definitely wasn't anything shocking in that one. Yeah, the serve gap was massive. Off the ground, I guess he was hanging in, but at the same time, I mean, yeah, sure, you had all these long patterns, but what necessarily like comes out of that? If Yannick was also like stretching a bit better on the forehand side and in defense, I think it also would have been even more tough, maybe. But yeah, difficult stuff. I just don't know if he's ever going to be touching guys like that. But then again, guys like that, it's literally Sinner, and I won't even include Alcaraz in this conversation because Alcaraz should be more playable for Tien.
Yeah, like I think for now when he plays guys like Rublev and Medvedev and Shelton and players like that, like the players who are not going to be as ruthless or punish him for the serve deficiency, he's able to make up for it in all the other attributes. So that's why he's risen as quickly as he has. Like that's why he's 33 in the race.
You compared him to Medvedev. I think I compared him to Zverev in some ways on the watch along as well. Just like dragging the opponent down to a lower level, essentially, is a big part of his game. Just making you play poorly.
Yep.
And he does that super well. Yeah, and when I say that, I don't think he's going to be hanging with guys like Sinner. I really am only meaning Sinner, so that's a bit crazy. Yeah, I think we will probably move on to talking about Medvedev now, since you don't have that much time. But yeah, I mean, Jonek's lighter balls, maybe they're helping. He is looking a bit better during this Asian swing, but then again, you cannot come away from Hangzhou and Beijing just thinking, oh my, Daniil Medvedev is back. I don't know if this was ever a possibility during these two events. Like, he'd probably need to beat Sinner in order for us to say something like that. But, his level of play looks a bit better. But then again, he still has a big chance to defeat Ivingwu, doesn't. And it's only a quarterfinal of a 250. Beijing semi is something he did last year as well. Beating Zverev is something he did in Halle in June. And it didn't necessarily, change his season. He's made the changes to his team as well. So hopefully in the future is going to lead to something positive. But for now, it's still a bit of a mixed feelings bag for Medvedev for sure. At least in that conversation that we typically have of who is more depressing right now, Medvedev or Tsitsipas. Well, I mean, Stefanos is currently post-surgery, so I think Daniel wins on that front. Although maybe some would argue that not playing is actually better than doing what Medvedev is doing, but not this week, no. I mean, the level of play seems fine-ish, but still there are, let's say, downsides to this, of course, given the fact that he was basically, on the verge of making the final and did not.
Yeah, just the fact that he didn't make the final of this and the fact that he lost that match to Yibing and this one in both matches he was serving for it and didn't come through it. I think that just makes it whatever, moments and bursts of optimism he showed mostly in this week, with the 3 wins that he got, it just doesn't mean we're going to see anything different or new. Maybe Shanghai, if he can build on it, now that Alcaraz is pulled out and he was, that was a potential round of 16 for Alcaraz. But now, unless he really builds on this, I don't think we saw a super improved version of him. I mean, we saw him play a little bit better. The level, like you said, was fine for the most part. I mean, this Zverev match, I think I don't know. I mean, I don't know about you, but I certainly thought he was going to win it just because of the head-to-head and recent success. And Zverev himself has also been in a bit of a, let's say not being a very weak number 3 right now. And so I just and also just how much he hates Medvedev's ball. Like there was just there was it didn't tell me that much new. Didn't give me a whole lot of new data. Let's see, but also the fact that he also started cramping like after almost 2 sets, like that surprised me a little bit. But yeah, and then he had serious chances in this. Even before he cramped, like he should have probably broken for 5-1 in the second set. He missed like that easy volley while serving it out. Like he did kind of let this one go a little bit. So yeah, if he makes the final and let's say like pushes Sinner and makes it like respectable, then you're like, okay, great week for Daniil, even though he didn't win a title. Or like let's say he wins Huangzhou last week and then he loses again like he did, like he loses here like he did, or even let's say in the quarters and Zverev plays really well or something, then it's like, okay, at least he walks away with the swing, like at least he wins a title for the first time in like 2.5 years. But just the combination of both Huangzhou and this one still makes you think like Medvedev is still pretty far away, I think, from being like a force again. And he's like 20th in the race, right? That sounds about right given the year that he has. Some might even say too high. So
yeah, I think if he made the final, he would have been 17th in the race. Yeah. So like with the title, he'd be somehow a touring contender. But yeah, I mean, I think that what you said is obviously true. Do we think that Medvedev could have beaten Sinner? Not really, but indeed, if he just made the final and played it reasonably well, like that would already be great. Of course, for him right now, not having won anything since Rome 2023 on hard courts, I guess, even earlier than that, that season still though, whatever he won, Miami over Sinner, yeah. So that feels like ages ago now. Any title right now would be really nice for him. Then again, for us to really declare that Medvedev is back, it obviously depends on your standards, but he's a former world number 1. He's a former Grand Slam champion, made a lot more finals as well. You kind of have to think about that and not about like returning to a top 10-ish level, which probably he can do, but we don't know about anything more. Considering the year he's had at the slams, I'm really going to probably wait until the Australian Open to have any, update to some major Medvedev takes. He needs around there. Or maybe, if he plays Carlos or Yannick and does pretty well against them, that could also be a real turning point. For now, it just doesn't feel like he's done anything that he wasn't doing anyway this season, especially considering he defeated Zverev in Halle and then, of course, had the high expectations for Wimbledon, only for it to end as it did against Benjamin Bonzi. So yeah, it's still not an overwhelmingly positive week for him, not at all, but it's something. And if he's fit from there, hopefully that retirement, of course, was just cramps. Oh, and by the way, that whole debate of the umpire giving Medvedev a penalty there, but then the ATP choosing not to fine him. What's your what's your stance on that?
Yeah, I found it ridiculous that the umpire gave him that warning. So for me, I was like, it was on Daniil's side for this one because I was like, he's clearly cramping. It's not for lack of effort. So, it's good that they reviewed it and everything, and maybe there was more reputational kind of a thing, like the umpire kind of basing it on maybe reputation rather than, I don't know. It was just a bad call, but so I guess now that's been looked at and kind of overturned. I guess that seems fair. I don't know about you. Like it just didn't. Yeah.
That whole not giving your best effort rule is very often not used by the umpires at all. Like they just absolutely forget it exists. So for it to kind of like be there in a big match and also in a situation where clearly the player is hampered. I think I was talking about it this morning on the watch along, and I just basically said that if I was the umpire in this particular, or any scenario like this, I probably just ask the player on the changeover, are you hurt? And like if the player says, I'm cramping, then it's fine. But if they say that no, I'm fine, then I just probably give them a soft warning and just say, well, you have to try then. There's that rule that you have to give your best effort. And if you're not physically hampered, I'm giving you a bit of a warning. Just, gotta see a bit more. And I don't think the umpire really did that or was thinking about the physical state of Medvedev. But yeah, in the end, I mean, not the biggest deal because he's not going to get fined anyway. So just a little bit of frustration on the court, but yeah, not much more.
It was good that he didn't have a meltdown after that, because then that would have made it worse. And
I mean, that he,
open state of mind, then that would have been, at least for his standards, it was not a meltdown.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that, like, in terms of just, I don't know, throwing a tantrum or something, that he didn't really have it, but in terms of, like, tennis, he didn't win a game right after that. So yeah,
he didn't win a game after 5-3 in the second set, so that would have been like 8 games in a row.
Yeah.
Anyway, he said like, "Why are you trying to intimidate me?" or something. He did obviously argue and stuff, but
yeah, I think that's pretty clear. Anyway, what we think about this situation, so we will probably move on to talking about Tokyo. I see the comment about Monfils. We'll try to get to that, definitely. Tokyo, of course, was won by Carlos Alcaraz, was playing the event for the first time. Well, I mean, I can't say it was a controversial decision, but he won Beijing in such emphatic fashion last year. Better courts for him, probably, but he's on such a hot streak right now that even with some ankle scares along the way and perhaps not looking the best he's ever had against Casper Ruud in the semifinals, he still takes the title, job done for the week. And one of the main points we're also going to talk about is the fact that he decided to he opted to pull out of Shanghai after taking the trophy.
Yeah, 2-2 in the first set against Baez. He turns the ankle, and it looked kind of scary for a brief bit. He had to call the doctor. They got to get it taped, but then he played a great match after that. And then you're like, okay, actually, he's, this is manageable. He's definitely feeling it in some moments when he's stretched out on the backhand, like especially when he has to hit open stance. I found him hitting slice a lot on that when he was pushed on the left side, and that obviously works well for him because he has a very good slice, and he doesn't really still look slow at all movement wise, and he still came up with some unbelievable shots. Speed and court coverage was through the roof the whole week, and mainly it was the forehand quality that stood out. He was just basically every single forehand just going for a ton, but with a lot of margin, and seems to have shortened the backswing a little bit. And it's just, he's in that Alcaraz mode where he's it's not quite like US Open level, like just unbelievable dominance, but it's close. Like, he's definitely unlocked this new level of consistency, and just at the same time being able to show off all his full skill set. And he was able to do that against Bergs, Nakashima, one of the better matches he's played just in his career in general, like 39 winners in 80 minutes. And just some really awesome points, especially in that last game where he just flicked that backhand for a winner that was just making the rounds on the internet. And then he winced a little bit in pain afterwards, where normally you'd see him smile to the crowd and stuff. But I think that was a sign that he was still feeling it in his ankle. And but it didn't seem to affect the way he played most of the week. He was still able to find a good balance. And the Ruud match was the tricky one, where he was pushed a little bit more. That's some of the best tennis I've seen Ruud play in like months. And also he had those break points at the start of the third set to go up 3-1. But once Alcaraz got out of that game, and broke after that, you felt like it was all on his racket. And then he got the revenge over Fritz from the Laver Cup, if you want to call it a revenge even. But he just sort of, and then in the final, it was all about adjusting some tactics more so, but the drop shots in the final game, and just in general, he seemed to be in his best run of form really since, I guess, April, right? He's made 9 finals and won 7 titles. So certainly looking at over 90% win rate on the year, and 8 titles for the year, and all this success across different surfaces. So now it's going to be all about Paris and Turin really for him. And I guess skipping Shanghai seems like a good move because he felt like he could push through Tokyo here, pick up the points, 500 of them, and then, I guess now he'll preserve himself for. Before, I guess his first event will be the Six King Slam, right? And then after that will be, he's not playing Basel or Vienna, so it'll just be Paris and London or Turin.
And probably Davis Cup finals as well.
Yeah.
One of our common chatters, Ozan, he asked me a question about this on Twitter. I remember about like Alcaraz skipping Shanghai. What are your thoughts? And I was struggling to answer because to me it's just info. Like there's no thoughts on that because there's no drawback to him skipping Shanghai. What exactly, is he aiming to do this time of the season? And it's a bit of a problem like this for players who are so focused on the slams that after the US Open, they keep playing, but I mean, especially if they've already made the ATP finals, number one, maybe it will be some sort of a
maybe it just makes it
conversation,
easier for Sinner to close the 2,500 gap that he had.
Yeah, but like still, I saw you made a tweet like this where you just said that like, oh, if Sinner wins 3 events, he's going to be 1,000 points away, and I was just like, just I don't know. I can't get excited about this yet. I can't get into this potential number one conversation. There's really no drawback to Carlos skipping Shanghai. If he feels like his body needs more rest, go for it. He's already won 500 points for Tokyo, won the tournament. Just go to Europe, bro. It's fine. So I really have absolutely zero thoughts on that. In terms of the title run, of course, credit to Brandon Nakashima for making Carlos play such ridiculous tennis on the day. Basically got the best out of Alcaraz that he possibly could have. Just, I don't know, just absolutely stunning from Brandon. That was the fun match this week. Casper, sure, a little tougher than expected. I think that Taylor was hampered as well in the last few games. Carlos probably started, his mind was wandering off a little bit, but he managed to make it work. And he was probably the player again who was in more danger this week than Yannick just on paper because of the conditions, because of the fact that he had stronger seeds to potentially combat, like number 2 Fritz compared to number 2 Zverev. In the end, of course, it was that Laver Cup rematch, which, added a little bit of intrigue to it. But he was still able to take the title. Seems like both of them, Alcaraz and Fritz, they were a bit beat up in general after Laver Cup. So, it's good for Carlos to have some rest now. The question in the chat, I can't even... I'm not even going to answer about Sinner being the favorite for Bercy and ATP finals because that's obvious. But we can answer a sort of a different question, which kind of popped up during the watch along today for me. What would Sinner have to do from here to be the player of the year? Because Carlos has 8 titles. He has 3. They've both won 2 slams each. Carlos this year, if we're just talking head to head, is like what, 4-1? But 1 is a retirement, 3-1, let's say, in terms of actual matches. And what would Yannick have to do from here in order to be called a better player this season than Carlos?
Get the year number 1 or beat Alcaraz en route to the ATP finals or something.
I don't think that's enough, the latter part. Let's say Yannick from here, they have the same results, but then Yannick wins the ATP finals by defeating Carlos in the final. I don't think that's enough.
Well, what if he wins Vienna, then he wins Paris? He wins this and he wins Shanghai. What if he just does a clean sweep from here?
Then we have a conversation, But that's the kind of achievement that he would have.
The reason why also I made that tweet, I was like, who's going to beat him in Shanghai? If Alcaraz isn't playing.
We can ask that for any event, right? That Alcaraz and Sinner aren't playing, basically. Or one of Alcaraz or Sinner aren't playing,
No, but obviously that is a lot of tennis that he's playing, right? Because he's going to be playing Shanghai. That's 2 weeks, and then 6 Kings, and then Vienna, which he might pull out of Vienna or something, or he might play Vienna and then pull out of Paris.
He is fresher. He is fresher, though.
Yes.
Also, that's not enough to the producer, I think, to win the 3 big tournaments and have 1 win over Alcaraz en route. That's not enough. Like, he's still losing in the head-to-head. They still have the two slams. Carlos still has more titles than... I don't know. Of course, these comparisons are very much unfair to Yannick because he skipped 3 months this season. But, well, I mean, we can't judge that. Like, it's literally, we're looking at resumes, right, for a conversation like this. So, yeah.
And also,
I mean,
he's
for me,
making
it's
up
like
for some
almost
of this by playing more on the back end, right? Like, he's going to be playing Shanghai and Vienna.
Yeah, he's fresher.
Yes.
He's
Alcaraz
fresher
also
than the other
skipped
players.
Madrid. So, there's the 3 1000s before, but
by this time last season, he would have played like 20 more matches than he has right now, something like that. So, yeah, I mean, I would say that it's very difficult for him to currently be better than Carlos this year. Would probably, for me, have to almost win every single match from here, plus beat Alcaraz at probably 2 of the next events. So, of course, Paris, Davis Cup, and ATP Finals are the only chances, really. So it's difficult. And yeah, the body of work that Alcaraz has put in is just a lot more substantial. Is part of that just the fact that he was able to play in April? Yes. I'm not going to say March because, well, Carlos didn't do anything in March. But yeah, it's going to be very difficult for Yannick to be ahead of Carlos after this season. That's just kind of how the whole tournament, the whole season, I mean, the whole year got lined up. Of course, that's, still, as I said, it's unfair to Yannick, and I'm very much aware of that. But it is what it is. I mean,
you'd have to basically do a clean sweep and beat Alcaraz like twice. And even then, you'd be like, oh, well, the slam meetings. Like, there's still other arguments for Alcaraz.
I think if you beat Carlos twice, you probably can afford losing some other tournament. But yeah, almost a clean sweep, beat Alcaraz twice, and then we're starting a conversation. But just winning the ATP Finals and beating Carlos there, I don't think that's enough. Sinner has been playing nonstop since the beginning of May. Carlos has too. I mean, I don't know. Maybe after Shanghai, he's not actually going to be fresher, fair. But there's also still the possibility that he also skips either Bercy or Vienna, because, well, it's going to be a bit unrealistic probably to win Shanghai, Vienna, Paris.
Yeah, I mean, and also the last couple of years, he's either pulled out of Paris or he's like withdrawn halfway.
Yeah, but that wasn't due to like fatigue. Well, it was due to fatigue, but different circumstances.
Yeah.
No, Alcaraz is not playing in the Vienna Basel week, so he has a free period there after the Six Kings slams. Gotta recover from that because it's 2 matches at the Six Kings slam. I mean, in Beijing,
2 for Alcaraz and 3 for and 3 for Sinner. Yeah.
3 for Sinner?
Isn't it like you get a buy or something? It's so weird. This is why.
But both of them get a buy, no? I mean, it's 6 players. So Sinner and Alcaraz get a bye, and the other players start in the opening round. I mean, who else would get a bye?
I thought it was Djokovic who got a bye, but I can.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I'm just guessing, to be honest. Like that. Why would that make any sense?
They do things differently here. Yeah, like I'll have to check that, but.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, actually, yes. Djokovic has a bye.
Yeah, I thought
he's
so.
gonna play Tsitsipas or Sinner.
That doesn't really
That's
make
ridiculous.
any sense. But yeah.
Like, what exactly are you basing this on?
Oh, is it because he has the most majors or something? I read that somewhere, but that still doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he does. But okay, Sinner is beating Tsitsipas, even in Six Kings Slam. Djokovic is... Well, actually, maybe this is the chance for Djokovic to play Sinner Alcaraz in an exhibition.
It doesn't matter.
Anyway.
It doesn't count for the head-to-head, right? Or unless they retroactively added.
Well, Rod Laver, actually, I also don't know, because Rod Laver has 11 slams in the Open era only.
Yeah.
So depends how many you count, but anyway.
No, he has 11 total, right? And only like 5 or 6 of them are in the Open era.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah, you're right. I said it the other way around. But anyway, yeah, he actually wouldn't be probably just on Open era. He wouldn't be ahead of Carlos, I don't think. Anyway, whatever, he would be tied with him or even below. Yes, that's not really what we should talk about right now. Actually, I'm just gonna ask you this question because I haven't looked at the draw in Tokyo yet, but just off the top of my head, like in Beijing, we had some other stuff to talk about, Medvedev and Tien
Mhm.
especially. Was there any story in Tokyo other than Carlos Alcaraz?
Brooksby making the semis,
Yeah, you can
beating
talk
Runa.
about that then, if it's a story.
No, I mean like it's I guess first 500 level semi maybe, and he beats Runa, and you would have thought, okay, like maybe this is like Runa's chance to make a run here. Didn't happen. So maybe the story is more that it didn't happen for Runa. I don't know.
Yeah, Runa is just another one of these guys you can't trust at the moment. He's entering a match against, by the way, Brooksby shocks Runa in Tokyo quarterfinals. Yeah, definitely. Shocks is the right word to use. I mean, yeah, you just enter any match with Holger right now, and you know he's probably be, well, I mean, he can win it, obviously. He still has ability in him, but he can also just like keep throwing his talent away. And it's tough to see when that will actually end and how that will actually end. Anyway, yeah, I mean, I it seems like Tokyo was even more one player centered than Beijing. Was more of a one man show. So let's talk about that Gael Monfils retirement announcement that the producer wanted us to talk about before you left. Some people are treating this as if it's like some sort of a big deal, but by the end of next season, like how
Yeah,
long did you
absolutely.
think Gael Monfils was going to play?
Yeah, I mean he would be 40. That's a good endpoint. He would be 40 years old in 2 or 3 months. Like that is about as long as you could have asked him to play. So for me, when I read that announcement, I was like thinking, oh, is he retiring now? Oh, is it like the way it was
Same,
presented?
actually,
The way it
same.
was
I was
presented,
looking at,
I
is
was
it
like, oh,
this season?
he's like done. Like this is good. Like he's out of the game now. Like not this is good. Like as in the sense, like is he good for real? Like is he retiring? Like no, end of next year. So that means we still have a whole another year to enjoy Game One feast. So yeah, I guess that's so for me it was like okay, like that makes no sense. He even says I have no regrets and been playing for 21 years and he'll get the ovation in Paris twice, Paris Bercy and Roland Garros. So seems like a fitting way to go out, right?
Yeah, I found it very interesting as well how the statement mentioned a Grand Slam title, like very, focused on that. That this is some sort of a regret that he's of course, well, not he says that he has no regrets, but yeah, basically I was going to say that like when I saw that I was just thinking, okay, so it's clear that this is kind of his focus as well, that I know that I haven't won a Grand Slam title and I don't expect to win it next year, but I was just kind of intrigued by the sheer mention of it, which makes sense. Like people have always talked about that for all the musketeers really, well, maybe barring Gilles Simon, but yeah, it was interesting that it was interesting to me that he kind of singled it out as well as some achievement that he didn't get. Apparently, no regrets, but an achievement he's like obviously not going to achieve from this point onwards. But yeah, in terms of like the sheer date and everything, yeah, what exactly were you expecting? Were you thinking that Gael Monfils was going to keep playing until 2027, 2028? Not really. Of course, he's not even like, he's struggling with his fitness as well right now. I mean, he doesn't play Paris Bercy. He's obviously on the list. I mean, we'll see if he's going to be fit, but, why wouldn't he try? If he's going to be fit, we don't know right now. It's not like the event starts in a week. At the end of the 2026 tennis season, just like you, I saw the announcement and I was like, oh, is he retiring, tomorrow? Is he retiring in Bercy? And then I realized that it's about the season after. We've seen that before, of course, from players. It's not the first one to go to have it like that. But basically with Monfils's current state of, his fitness and basically with where he is with his career, I was definitely just thinking it's about this season for a moment and had to like read it three times to confirm that no, it's actually about the next year. So yeah, it looks like he will have some major celebrations for him, of course, in Bercy and in Paris, especially at Roland Garros. Definitely going to be a fun era of French tennis to look back on. Tsonga, Monfils, Gasquet, and Simon. He's with the last left of the lot. The other players have retired.
His pigeonizer Djokovic in the comments right there.
Yeah.
His biggest pigeonizer. 20-0.
3 match points in Dubai 2020. I was talking about them today on the watch.
What if he beats Djokovic next year in Bercy and then they both retire together? That'd be kind of cool. No.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind that at all. It would feel very weird, but I guess I wouldn't mind that at all. It would be nice for him to have a win over Novak. He's played some decent matches against him. I always remember that US Open semi when he just starts goes down 0-5, starts junk bowling. He starts winning points. It was just an insane match.
The most bizarre match from both of them, yeah.
Yeah.
2020 Dubai though, that's the one.
That's the one, obviously, that got away. The runaway bride of these 20 matches. 3 match points, and I was mentioning that on the watch along today because that was when Novak won the title. After that, Rafa won Acapulco. So the last time before this week that the number 1 and number 2 won a tournament in the same week. Yeah, I mean, I think you probably have to run. There's still Shanghai to talk about, but I mean, depending on your availability.
Actually, I have about 15 more minutes. So it's at 3:30 now.
I'll just talk about the Shanghai draw with you then. Are you also kind of struggling to get excited about it? Simply because
yes,
too much of it. It's like, just get the 2-week Masters away. I don't want to look at another 128/96 player draw. Like, I just don't have the patience for that right now. I don't care who's where. I don't care who landed in which section. But we're going to look at it, of course.
I find myself more excited about Wuhan. Well,
fair enough. I find myself more excited about the challengers this week and next week.
And the conclusion of Beijing, even though, I mean, we've had some crazy upsets there, but yeah, this, I don't know. I don't know if I want another 2-week Masters right now, but it is what it is. I guess Djokovic is coming back, but he's in Sinner's half. So you have Fritz and Djokovic and Sinner all in one half, and then the other half is just like, who the hell is going to come out on top? And so, yeah, if that discussion about Medvedev, though, if Medvedev does get out of that half, wouldn't that would be something big, right? Like if he actually, I don't know, made the semis or the final here, then you could start having conversations of like, oh, okay, is he going to return to the top 10? Is it kind of happening? I forget who he's playing, but it's I think he might be playing Yibing Wu in the first round, right? Or something. Second round, maybe. Yibing Wu,
I have no idea, so I'm checking it right now because I really know nothing. I mean, something I did know. Oh, okay, yeah. So something I did know was the fact that Carlos Alcaraz was the top seed, and it was so weird for me to see him as a top seed in a big event. I was just like, wait, what's happening? Where's Yannick?
It's been 2 years.
And of course, in the end, he's not actually there. Corentin Moutet has picked up the 33rd seeding after Carlos withdrew. But yeah, Medvedev is going to play Yibing Wu or Dalibor Szczecina. That's actually pretty difficult, either way. Szczecina is just gonna frustrate him to no end. Another player like that. So, and of course, Yibing Wu has just defeated him in Hangzhou.
Yeah, I'm sort of just searching for stories here. Is there even one?
There's a lot of stories that are less high profile, I suppose, than what we want to talk about on ATP Weekly, which is why for the first couple of rounds, I will be very interested in this event. I don't know, I watched Vachereau defeating Jere today. What else did I watch? There was definitely at least something more. Cilic Basilashvili was a throwback matchup.
Well, yeah, and then Cilic is Djokovic, right? So Cilic Djokovic, that's the 22nd meeting between them. I believe it's
when you said 22nd, I thought you were actually going to start talking about how many seconds they take before serving the ball.
Yeah, right. The ball, 2 most prolific ball bouncing. I don't know. Is there a word for it? Ball bouncers before serve, I guess.
I got all eyes on this section. Yeah, sure. Is Mike Shakfeet? Well, he pulled out of Tokyo. He still didn't feel ready. It's still the rib injury since the US Open. He should be fit, but
Wait, so Tsitsipas is playing this? I thought he was going to skip this and maybe play Six Kings. Or he's coming
yeah,
back.
I thought he wasn't playing this either. But since he's still in the draw, I suppose that's changed.
So really, all he missed was just Beijing or Tokyo. That's it.
Yeah, the procedure must have gone smoothly then, I suppose.
Okay. Yeah, I have my suspicions about that, but yeah.
Sinner is the number 2 seed, of course. He will play Altmaier in the second round. Once upon a time, we had this match as one of the best of the season in 2023. I don't think it will be as good in Shanghai. However, 2023, Yannick Sinner wins Shanghai and then loses to Ben Shelton in the forefront.
You mean wins Beijing? Yeah. Okay.
Wins Beijing and loses in the forefront in Shanghai. He hasn't lost to a player ranked outside the top 10 on hardcourt since. He hasn't lost to an American since. He hasn't lost to a left-handed player since. So that was really like a start of some streaks for Yannick. And I mean, you mentioned that earlier, but like, who the hell is beating Yannick Sinner here? And it's tough to find names like that. I mean, are we just gonna think that Bublik is gonna do it again? Thomas Mahac was in the semifinals in Shanghai, and maybe he could play him in the forefront. Like, that could be decently exciting.
What is his section like? Like after the Altmaier Sinner?
Talon Hrigspor, Jensen Brooksby, or James Trotter in the third round, and then fourth round is Bublik, Vassaro, Bellucci, or Mahac.
Okay, so it basically goes Bublik, Fritz, Novak, and then whoever the hell comes out on the top half.
Something like that.
From 16 onwards. Okay.
Shelton could be a semi-final opponent for Yannick.
Hrigspor has played him tough before, right? Like Miami 2024. There have been some moments. It feels like he plays him close, but then
he lost like 7 matches in a row also.
Yeah. It's kind of like the head-to-head with Zverev, but
not against Yannick, by the way, just in general. I mean, but yeah, against Yannick, he's like what is 6-0, right? Yeah, 6-0. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe he can take a set, but I don't think it's an upset.
Yeah, I mean, Talon's game has collapsed completely in the last couple of months. He's currently, 7 losses in a row. 0-6 on hard.
Shelton will want to secure that Turin berth, and he'll want to.
I mean, he's got it already.
Back after what is he right now? Like 6th, right? Okay, yeah, he's probably got it. Then he has like 3,700 points.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's a massive gap. Of course, right now we only have Alcaraz and Sinner qualified. But we've got Djokovic and Zverev, right? Well, about 800 points from qualification. About 400 behind that is Fritz and Shelton. These players are all clear. I think that Deminor and Musetti, honestly, I mean, assuming Djokovic plays the ATP finals, the race is almost set unless somebody unexpected wins Shanghai or Paris.
Yeah, then I guess maybe you'll watch out for Felix, because this is his first tournament since US Open, and he's like 10th in the race, right? Like, or I guess. Wait, actually, if it was tomorrow, wouldn't he be in the finals?
Why?
Or would he be? Like, if Draper and Djokovic don't play?
Well, if Djokovic doesn't play, yes.
Yeah. So maybe he'll want to do well. He'll pick up the points. I guess Ruud is right behind him, so Ruud would want to have a good week. So it's important for Felix and Ruud, I think. Felix, Ruud, and Rublev. I think those 3 players.
It just still feels like they're all like, I don't know. After Sinner, there's 30 players at virtually the same level.
Yeah,
like
it does. Like
who's going to tell me that
like there's more gap between Zverev and the number 50 than there is between Sinner and Zverev.
I mean, the other way around, right?
Yeah.
There's a big gap between Sinner and Zverev, and then Zverev
bigger between 2 and 3 than 3 and 50.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because like Lerner Tien could literally make the Shanghai final, and nobody will be shocked, I don't think, because
Really? I mean, I would be kind of shocked, but yeah.
I mean,
I
yes,
see
but
what
you know
mean,
what
yeah.
you know what I mean, right?
Yeah,
A
yeah, yeah,
player
yeah.
like Lennon Etienne, whatever, Alex Mickelson, I don't know. Like it's just where we are right now. Like you mentioned, all these guys like Ruud, Rublev, Auger-Aliassime, they're the same player quality wise as everybody ranked in the top 40, 30 right now. Like it's really all to play for. Maybe Djokovic, you could argue, is also ahead of the rest. But, you know, his motivation in best of 3 this year has been kind of like that, especially besides the tournament where he got his 100th title in Geneva. But yeah, I guess Novak still deserves that mention. But after that,
I think maybe he is. Maybe if you're looking for a story, maybe it's like, oh, can Djokovic in best of 3, like, can he test that theory that he was talking about? Like, can he still beat? Can he beat a Sinner in a semifinal?
Why do people call it a theory? He played Sinner at this particular tournament last year and wasn't close at all.
Yeah, I know, but you know, maybe a year later he's playing a little better and Sinner's playing a little worse. Like it's more possible for him in best of 3.
Oh, it is more possible for him. I just don't think it's a theory at all. Like you know, people. I saw this phrase used before on Twitter as well. That like Djokovic has that best of 3 theory or something like that. The guy has literally played Sinner last year in Shanghai,
Yeah.
and yes, the scoreline was pretty close. It's a fast court, but he did absolutely nothing on return the entire match. Like it wasn't actually that close. It's kind of like that Sinner Hurkacz Halle final or something like that. Of course, a little even less, a little more lopsided because the second set wasn't a tiebreak. Yeah, I think it's pretty obvious that Novak has a better shot in best of 3, but it didn't really help him last year. So maybe the big story this year is like how tired is Sinner. You know, is the fact that he won Beijing. Like, is it gonna make him a bit more vulnerable, like it did in 2023? And maybe there's somebody who steps up, and that somebody could really be so many different players because yeah, they're all at the same level. Even this section, if we're just looking at it, Bublik, Machac, Rikspor, I mean, there's really
It is a very lopsided draw, though, right? Like all those people that you think are like all the best players in the world are really in the second half right now.
Oh, so I have to look at the seeds in the top half.
But it's basically like, yeah, Shelton, Djokovic, Sinner, Fritz, all in the same half. And then the top half is just after Alcaraz left, it's like
Alex de Minaur.
Yeah, like the other half is like de Minaur, Zverev, Medvedev.
Musetti has a really good draw. Comesania Blanchet in the second round. Third round is Darderi, Buyun Chalkete, or Juan Macerundolo. But yeah, I mean, yeah, anyone can win this if Yannick loses to somebody. Like, that's kind of just my main takeaway. And this is also why I wasn't really focusing on the draw too much, because I just don't think it matters.
Maybe Mensik is the name here. He did make the quarterfinal last year. He made this would be the perfect conditions for him.
And also just retired to the Musetti in Beijing, which Musetti also retired.
He retired to de Minaur, and then de Minaur.
Not Musetti, de Minaur, yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. Well, so I guess there's not like that much to be excited about, in terms of.
It's all form of the day. Like all these matchups, they're really form of the day execution. There's no quality gaps between the players right now, which might make it exciting. But then again, it might also make it another event where we're just looking at Sinner and thinking, how is he going to lose? Maybe he is. 6 matches right after playing 5 matches in Beijing. It's not the easiest, but yeah, overall it just feels a bit too much. The 96 player draw. I'm fine with the 1-8s when it's a slam. For sure. Yeah. I am excited. I check where everybody is and etc. But I don't know. I just can't seem to do it here. Maybe also because of how the ATP Tour looks right now. Yeah, you've got Sinner and there's that massive gap, and I just don't feel like it's ultimately all that relevant right now for me to know where Casper Ruud is in the draw, where Andrei Rublev is in the draw, because all these players can win this tournament, but they just need somebody to knock out Yannick Sinner.
Yeah. So yeah, it really is a question of, can you actually do Beijing and Shanghai back to back, really? Has he ever done this, by the way? Has he ever won like 2 tournaments in a row consecutively? Actually, I don't think he has.
Interesting.
So yeah, potentially that is something new he could do by doing this.
I wonder how often he actually tries to do it still, right? I mean,
yeah, I mean,
because what, has he won Indian Wells? No.
I mean the closest would be like doing a Cincinnati US Open like he did last year. That would be like the
Yeah,
closest.
but that's like how often does he even play 2 tournaments in a row? And I think it's only really this, like Beijing, Shanghai in recent years.
Yeah.
Unless, of course, we're talking about like Madrid, Rome, Indian Wells, Miami, and I don't know if we're counting that, but he's not winning Indian Wells and Madrid, so he doesn't even give himself the chance. But yeah, I suppose he's never done it.
Yeah.
Was there like a Marseille? No, Montpellier. No, he pulled out of Marseille then.
Maybe he's done it like, indoor 250s in 2021, like he did like the Antwerp and yeah, I mean,
I don't think so. I mean, he had that streak in Sofia, but
yeah,
of course that was years, and I don't know if he ever combined it. I mean, he actually he did win, by the way, next gen finals, and then the week after the Ortisei Challenger.
Sure, but yeah, it's okay. So basically, hasn't done it yet. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think so. On the ATP tour, I don't think so. You would have to check, but potentially not. But yeah, Ortisei Challenger, that was a shocker. He played that even, he won the next gen finals, and everybody was expecting him to pull out. And he won that, of course, in the north of Italy, over 1,000 altitude, indoors.
I guess we're kind of running out of stuff to talk about, so we should wrap this up.
Yes, absolutely. I do believe this is the right moment to end the show. Just briefly looking at his 21 titles, and there was Sofia and Antwerp, but was that consecutive weeks? I don't know, to be honest.
Dude, okay, yes, wait, actually, would it shock you if Mute made the final?
Yes. I mean, sorta. No, sorta. Just sorta. Because, yeah, again, it's very similar level. No, Sofia and Antwerp in 21, they're split up by like 2 weeks. So I guess Yannick has never won 2 consecutive titles, like, in consecutive weeks. But again, he doesn't even have too many chances with his scheduling to do it. So, not playing 250s is going to make it, I guess, a lot more difficult.
The question in the top half, who can beat Mute, Tien, and Nori? Who can beat one of those 3?
Oh my. Yeah, what a section. Arthur Cazot to the forefront, please. Anyway, yeah, we've probably run out of stuff by this point, and you gotta go. And I probably have to go too, because in the morning, my time, we will have a recording of a very special show we're somehow both a part of. And I have to wake up for that. So obviously, ATP Weekly, thank you guys for showing up. Not many viewers today, not many chatters, but the
Damien is so lucky. He gets to end his previous day with me, and he gets to start the next morning with me as well. What a life! What a life.
That's exactly what we're going to be talking about, Pookie, in the morning, about the defeat of Iga Świątek and about our feelings. But yes, indeed, I am presently ending the day with Vansh, and I'm also going to wake up to talk to Vansh. So basically, because I'm going to be sleeping, it's like I'm going to see you in about 45 minutes, even if it's going to be 7 hours. Anyway, thank you we'll be live on that topic tomorrow morning. Because there's also WTA Weekly. So there's going to be Iga Carlos recording, but also WTA Weekly. We're going to be fighting for the audiences, Hopefully they can watch both. Just watch one live and then watch the other while exercising or whatever. How bold of me to assume that any talking tennis chatters are exercising. Ghosty definitely doesn't. Oh no, WT Weekly is on Sunday, right? So why will you be live on that topic tomorrow morning? Anyway, nothing crazy right now. Let's just not talk about it anymore. I'm not even sure what I'm saying. Anyway, thank you everybody. It was great fun to have you here on the show. Vansh, as usual, nice to talk to you, and I'll see you in about whatever, say 7 hours to talk more WTA, but also, of course, go over the Carlos Alcaraz run.
All right. Yep. Sounds good. Yeah, it was good. And I'll see you in about 7 hours. And thanks to everybody else.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.